This is the Fifth Estate winning headlines, your media police post, brought to you by the Fort Hall School of Government, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 10th of February 2020 and I am 2J.
I'm 2M.
And I am JM. In case you missed the headlines today, here they are. In the Star, MOI felt he was next after JM karaoke murder.
Yes.
In the Standard, Day MOI braved gunfire at home.
Yes.
And in the Daily Nation,
Yes.
the journey home.
Yeah.
Of course,
So-
in the lead up to the funeral.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is happening on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yes.
we still have a lot more of the MOI related headlines.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's happening here in
Yes,
the Star?
in
What
the
are they
Star,
telling us?
MOI felt that he was next after JM karaoke murder. He was often deprived of security at a time when assassinations were common.
Yeah.
So in this story, the Star is telling us that right after the assassination of JM karaoke in 1975, MOI felt that he, as they say in the headline, was next. So they say that 7 years into his role as the vice president, that he was isolated by the Kikuyu elite who were feeling threatened by his closeness to Kenyatta. So they say that he was subjected to humiliating searches at his offices, his homes, his vehicles, and often his security detail was actually taken away from him, making him feel very vulnerable. I thought this was a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how we've moved past some of the, colored headlines, and now
Yes.
we're looking to some of the stories that we might not have known
Absolutely.
at
Yes.
a time when he was, in the run-up to becoming president.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, if there was a man who was subjugated and treated, humiliated,
Yeah.
he was Daniel Arap Moi. And that's why I keep saying, I don't blame this man for what he did. I mean, I feel sorry for the kind of treatment and torture others went through because, of what happened. But what do you expect Moi to do?
What does this story remind you of? Which certain deputy or vice?
Of course, there's parallels here
Yeah.
between the vice president, former vice president, and the deputy president today.
Yes.
And the tribulations that they go through.
Yeah.
Before they, become president.
Yeah.
If what is happening to William Ruto is anything to go by, does not compare to how
Oh
Moi was
no, not at all.
humiliated.
Yeah.
Does it?
That's on another.
That's very true.
This was on another level altogether.
Yes.
So we have a three-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines. Are the headlines topical or speculative, repetitive or groundbreaking, and finally thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Yes.
This is too long-winded.
The Star has really missed the mark during this entire period. I feel like this is such a fantastic story, and then they waste it with an essay of a headline.
I know, so we toss it.
Yes.
But it's a good story.
Very good story, yeah.
In the Standard, what have we got here?
Yes, the day Moi braved gunfire at home. So apparently 4 days after the...
But actually, sorry, before you go, let me go first.
Yeah.
Let me go first because I intend to tell a
Oh
story
yeah, go ahead.
of the night of the coup. So in the Daily Nation, a very simple headline, The Journey Home.
Yeah.
And basically what they're telling us is that the president made an impromptu visit to Nyayo Stadium yesterday to inspect the works going on for the memorial service tomorrow.
He even drove himself.
He drove himself
in a G-Wagon.
his G-Wagon, armored.
Yeah.
And he was in traffic with a few other Kenyans. Looking the
Like,
side
what
and
is
wondering,
this?
wow.
Yeah.
So initially, they also tell us that the intention was to drive the body down to Nakuru. And so Kenyans had been prepared for all of that, but they've decided against it. So they'll fly him out on Wednesday, I think.
Yes.
Over to Kabarak, and then that's when the service will be held.
Yes.
Okay.
But what the nation should have told us is a more interesting story, like that of the Star, like that also of the Standard.
Yes.
And so I've extracted a story from the Andrew Morton book about the morning of the coup on the 1st of August 1982. And this story is about the heroism of the Sumbeyo brothers, plus a few other characters.
Yes.
So at around 3 a.m., Elijah Sumbeyo, the commander of the presidential escort, got a ring from Nairobi, telling him that the army has staged a coup.
Yes.
Now Sumbeyo was in Nakuru, the president was in Kabarak.
Yes.
And, so Sumbeyo wakes up in a panic and he calls his brother Lazarus.
Yes.
Lazarus was a soldier in the army, stationed also in Nakuru.
Yes.
And so Lazarus comes over, picks up Elijah,
Yeah.
and they hop into Lazarus's 204 Peugeot.
Yeah.
I imagine a tiny car for that time.
Yeah.
And they speed over to Kabarak. And they get to Kabarak, and there's about 50 armed presidential guards.
Yes.
They're on high alert. They are, almost trigger happy. They're waiting to get into action. So at Kabarak, they tried to petition Mzee.
Yeah.
Look, we got to get out of this house because it could be bombed. We don't know what we are dealing with.
Yeah.
But Mzee is, he's like, no, I can't leave.
Yeah.
This is my place.
Yeah.
I'm the president.
Yes.
Yeah.
But eventually, Elijah grabs his hand.
Yeah.
They hop into, again, Lazarus's Peugeot.
Yeah.
And they head for the bush.
Yes.
And as they're heading for the bush, they're not quite sure exactly where they're going.
Yes.
So Elijah crafted a plan.
Yeah.
And they had two options now that they were planning to
execute.
Yeah.
to execute here. So the first was either to drive to Eldoret, the heartland of the Kalenjin nation, and then to fly Moi out of
Eldoret
to an international space.
Yes.
Or the second, to drive him west into Pokot.
Yes.
And at Pokot, the plan was to get the fierce Pokot warriors to form a militia to fight to death from there.
Yes.
So they deliberated, and they settled on the Pokot plan.
Yes.
And just as they set off, a few kilometers, General Muhammad calls and he says, you can come back to Nairobi. The army has taken back control.
Yes.
A story of heroism.
Yes.
That is also the day that Moi had a bit of an intimate encounter with Hezekiah Oyugi.
Yes.
The then Rift Valley Provincial Commissioner.
Yes.
Who said, Mzee, I will die for you.
I
will die for you. I'm so happy you're safe. And ever since then, they had a bit of a bromance until the falling out in 1990.
Actually, what is again that the army was training in northern Kenya, and majority of the army was stationed there, and many questioned the ability of the Air Force to really overturn or overthrow the government because it was such a small outfit. Now, and the guys were wondering, how can a small outfit overrun a government, and yet we have an army out there. And I think that's what gave the army the impetus now to move into Nairobi and retake Nairobi.
So what you're telling us is that interesting story you've told us was not in the Daily Nation.
It was not in the Daily Nation. But you had a good headline.
A good headline.
But you know what? Toss it as well.
Toss it, in fact.
Now, you come in with your story 4 days after the coup.
Yes, 4 days after the coup. Daniel Arap Moi is in Cabernet Gardens, right here in Nairobi, next to Kibera. And I think this is at night. And his lights are on, and I think he's in his bedroom. And suddenly, gunfire erupts. And
in the compound?
Right outside the compound. And they thought it was actually coming from Nairobi Dam, which is very close to Moi's home. And soldiers rushed to Moi's room, take him downstairs, switch off his lights, and I think they take him to a certain room. And now they come out of the house and start to look for these guys where the gunshots are coming from. And he said that they saw 4 silhouettes of the attackers, but the attackers disappeared into thin air. But the thing here is this: the story just ends there. It's not much of it. Story here is, you've tried to overthrow the guy. 4 days later, he hears gunshots outside his home. Outside his home.
Oh my goodness.
This man was targeted, and he was president of Kenya.
Absolutely.
Now, can you imagine a president of Kenya in a span of a week having that kind of experience?
Under siege in that way.
This man was bound to react on Gema. On anybody that was going to be a threat to the throne. That's why I'm saying, if the coup went through, if whatever attacks on Moi went through, Kenya would be Somalia today, because there will be counter coups upon counter coups upon counter coups upon. If a private can actually take over government.
On that note, we're left with the Standard. I think it's a great headline, a good story. I think we give it our winning headline.
Absolutely.
Give it to the Standard.
I like the Standard.
Over to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. We also have a 3-part criteria that we use. Number 1, are they humorous or dry? Are they satirical or pessimistic? And finally, effective or just plain lazy?
Yes.
In the nation.
Iga is...
on Mondays, per usual.
Yes. But now, this is quite a bit interesting. I'll cut him some slack today. It is the flag of Kano, the cockerel, and it's flying half-mast outside Parliament. And there's something on the beak of the and I think it's the Moi Rungu. I think he's telling us that Kano still rules this country.
Really?
Kano is still in power.
Well, okay.
The power of Moi is still there, you know.
It is still there to the extent that
I think,
you know, all the major politicians and decision makers are products of Kanu.
Yeah,
I really think you guys are giving Iga too much credit. I think you're reading into the cartoon. This looks to me like something that you're given in black and white, and then the children are told pick a color and color it in. That's all it looks like to me.
Now that's how he draws. But you can't blame him for that. But the symbolism of this is telling us Kanu is still in charge. And this is not the Kenyan flag at half-mast. This is the Kanu flag at half-mast.
Okay. Very true.
Yeah. Okay. But we park that on the side.
Parking bay. Yes.
What do we have in the star?
Next in the star, ozone.
Ozone is a flag of Kenya with the Chinese stars on it, and is also flying at half-mast. And in the background is a Chinese fellow who was captured on social media whipping a Kenyan. And the caption there is giving lying instead a bad meaning.
Yeah.
Look, to this fellow who was whipped, I think he should be whipped again, because no man should ever tell you to bend and you get whipped willingly and you whip. And you see, you remember some time back we were talking about our subjugation. We are too quick to bend over to foreign, interest
and command.
Have you ever seen people who just see foreigners and they smile for no reason? Yeah. You start engaging them for absolutely no reason.
But I think the bigger discussion is the amount of influence our government has allowed the Chinese to have. I don't think it's about Kenyans, you know, being weak or allowing themselves to be beaten. It's that our government has allowed a foreign entity to come in and be bigger and greater than it ought to be.
I don't doubt that, but the level of Chinese influence in Ethiopia is as huge. But you will never see a Chinese beating up an Ethiopian, all right? And maybe, you know, maybe when a foreigner attacks a Kenyan, maybe the Kenyan should revenge. You see, when a dog bites you, when a dog bites you, you should bite back. Bite back that dog, because it will what that will make this. It's
all right. What do you say about the cartoon? Let's focus.
I think it's profound, and
all right.
It's a lesson.
Let's park it.
It's a lesson to Kenyans.
Well, we finally look
We're parking all the cartoons.
We're parking all the cartoons.
Okay. And what do we have in the nation by Gado?
Gado is
the standard. Yes.
Yes, it's a drawing. Yes, it's a drawing of a meeting of European Union guys and I think African unions. It's Modogos and against Africans. And the Muzongos are asking, can you explain how you're going to handle the outsourcing of European border control on immigrants? And the Africans respond by saying by outsourcing. And I think this is profound. This is what I suspect they're talking about. Last year, some members of the European Union, some countries, took this idea called outsourcing. And by outsourcing, they mean that they station some of the police or guards in foreign countries, African countries, patrol their beaches, and in return, they give African countries some development.
And so they're patrolling the beaches so that they prevent Africans
illegal immigration
from leaving to go to Europe.
To Europe looking for a better life.
And this happened in Senegal. Senegalese government accepted foreign aid from the Spanish government, who in return put the Spanish Coast Guard on the Senegalese beaches to prevent Africans from actually leaving the country.
Not particularly. I don't think the context is just not right.
Exactly, and you know what? Maybe we can call out to our audience. Is there some context here that we are missing that you might be able to point out to us? But however, what I understood from the cartoon also is that by the African leaders saying back by outsourcing is the fact that sometimes our leaders are not willing to take responsibility for some of their own problems. So instead of dealing with it themselves, they outsource the issues or the solution finding to other people.
And that's why you get whipped.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I say that.
So who do we give it to?
I don't think we have a winning cartoon. That's my opinion. I'm gonna toss the standard.
Okay, so let's toss
all the cartoons.
Let's toss all the cartoons.
All of them I'm not married to them either.
And so what's our final thought?
And now our final thought. It is inspired by a book entitled Super Freakonomics. Global Cooling, Patriotic Prostitutes and Why Suicide Bombers Should Buy Life Insurance by Stephen D. Levitt and the guy called Pabna.
Stephen Dubner. Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner, written in 2009. And I'll just read the subtitle again, just for that shock factor. Global Cooling, Patriotic Prostitutes, and Why Suicide Bombers Should Buy Life Insurance. I think this is one of those books that you just by looking at it, you want to pick it up and read it.
Absolutely.
However, I will just say this at the beginning. Having read their original book, Freakonomics, I was not as impressed with this one. But nonetheless, we will go through and explain it to you. So the authors followed up their world-famous book with Super Freakonomics. economics, to continue asking and answering tough questions. So just like the first book, this one takes an economic approach to what's going on in the real world, which means using statistics and hard data to find out what really drives human behavior. So this book tackles a lot of interesting topics like prostitution, global warming, human organs or how they're used, and drunk walking. So the story of drunk walking is actually my favorite from the book, and I'll give you that story. So we've all been educated about the risks of driving under the influence of alcohol, and I think Kenyans are professionals in that regard. So they say that a drunk driver is 13 times more likely to cause an accident than a sober one. I think we know that. But yet we still have a lot of people who drink and drive, right? They say that 30% of all fatal car accidents involve at least one drunk driver. But then they say that during late nights when drinking is increased, that goes up to nearly 60%, right? So why do so many people still get behind the wheel of a car when they've been drinking? And this is because we know that drunk drivers rarely ever get caught. And this is not a phenomenon that we see only in Kenya. This is across the world. You'll find that a lot of drunk drivers, knowing that they will not get caught, continue to get behind the wheel. However, we all know that drunk driving is very risky. But then they ask this question, what about drunk walking? So they just give a few statistics, and they say that each year, more than 1,000 drunk pedestrians die in traffic accidents. So whether that's from stepping off roads, stepping off sidewalks onto the road, lying down on the floor to rest because you're too drunk, or just running across highways. These are some of the statistics that lead to more than 1,000 drunk pedestrians, having these accidents. But then they ask a very important question, and they say that on a per kilometer basis, is it more dangerous to drunk drive or to drunk walk? And so long story short, without ruining any of the statistics in the story, they found using hard data and statistics that it is safer per kilometer to drunk drive. Now, caveat, yes, here at the Fifth Estate, here at the Fort Hall School of Government, we do not condone or support drunk driving. But I think that what this book does tell us is that it highlights the often strange conclusions that come when we really analyze data. When we get down to like the most minute answer, sometimes the data may show us a lot of the conclusions that we have are incorrect. And that how we assume things because of behavior, they may be completely wrong. So they don't actually present answers or say what is right or wrong in this book, but they kind of like open our eyes to some of the contradictions that may exist and tell you, you choose, for yourself. So I think that with that, I don't know. No,
that's a beautiful.
Don't drink and drive. Though.
Beautiful story. Beautiful.
Oh dear.
There's a chapter on the prostitutes part that I loved, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know how I will return home. Okay. So let me go to another chapter.
Your mother is watching.
My takeaway. The takeaway of this is chapter 4. Then is the fix is in, and it's cheap and simple. And the thesis here is sometimes in very big problems, the solution to those problems is very simple. And he gives a story of in the mid 1800s, there was an epidemic known as puerperal fever. I don't know whether I've said it correctly. And this happened across many European hospitals. Now, this fever was actually blamed on women. Doctors said it is women who are causing this fever. And some administrator within the hospitals decided to have some statistical observations and look into this epidemic. And he actually realized, what he realized is doctors were responsible for this fever. And here's how it happened, that doctors would come from autopsies, performing autopsies on bodies.
Dead bodies.
And not clean their hands well, and then dash into delivery rooms to help women give birth. Here is someone who has touched a dead body and is now going to help a woman
bring life into the world.
All right? Now, how they would have sorted it out in those days was this way. They would have decided to quarantine the woman and the baby, put the woman in a different room, put the baby in a different room, and spend a hell lot of resources to be able and curb this epidemic. But what was simple was this. The simple solution was this. The doctors, all they needed to do was wash their hands effectively. That would have stopped the epidemic from happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really interesting.
Statistics, numbers don't lie.
Yes.
Facts are stubborn things.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Moses Korea likes to say.
Yes.
And so sometimes, you know, we are confronted by problems and we think the problem is so big.
Yeah.
But yet, as you say,
yes,
it's so
if something so small.
It's so simple. If you look at the data and you look at it objectively,
yes,
in a cold manner,
yes,
you just, it's simple as washing your hands.
It's as simple as washing your hands, and that's it.
Absolutely. So, as you know, in the book, part of the title, they say why terrorists should buy life insurance, and I'll talk about that in a short while. But anyway, I'll talk a little bit about incentives, which they address in the book. Yeah. And so they say we should predict people's reactions to incentives before we put them in place. And so he talks about the unintended consequences of certain policy decisions of government, for example. So he says, in Germany, in a particular place in Germany, it must have been a county council or something like that. They introduced a tax on volume-based collection of trash. So the more trash you had, the more tax you paid. So naturally, you didn't want to put out too much trash, right?
Yes.
And so the idea was to incentivize people to produce less waste. But you're still producing waste. You know, it still happens. What do you do? So instead, people came up with creative ways to avoid the fee. They started flushing down uneaten food into the toilets.
Sounds like something Kenyan would do.
and the unintended consequence there was a higher rat population. And the second example he gives is of terrorism. So they say that today terrorism frightens us all, and that's because you know, the targets as well as the victims are chosen at random. But he says today we can identify terrorists before they take action. There are ways to do that. But to understand them, we have to know what motivates them. Right. And so a professor at Princeton University conducted research on terrorists in Lebanon. And he found that terrorists are more likely to be well-educated and to come from a middle-class, affluent family. Right? And so the question is, what drives them? What he says is, what drives them is not poverty or a personal gain necessarily, but the willingness to perform a political act. So once you know that, then you can also combine that with certain algorithms, which he also talks about. And those algorithms look at indicators that allow them to pick out behavior that is unique to terrorists.
To identify them.
To identify. And I believe they do this a lot in Europe, where they've got huge databases and a lot of capacity in terms of monitoring. Europe and the US. And so they look at factors such as if people or if individuals are more prone to renting as opposed to owning property, owning assets, then they're more likely to be on a terrorist list. Precisely. If they're perpetually registered as students in universities, like some people that I wouldn't mention, then
they know themselves.
Then they're more likely to be terrorists. And so using indicators like those, you're able to really develop a short list. And so he says, on the flip side, so those are what you call the positive indicators. Then he also has the negative indicators. So similarly, if you see that an individual has bought life insurance, then you know that that person is not not a terrorist. Right? But and so what he's saying is that terrorists should buy life insurance so that they can, you know, find they can throw cops off that kind of thing.
Off the grid.
Do you have life insurance?
Yes.
So anyway, so that's what those are the things that he tells us in this book. That correlation between statistics and strange human behavior can tell us a lot. So on a day that we had a cartoon, no winning cartoon, a winning headline from the Standard. I'll leave you with a quote from the book. To change the world, you have to first understand it. So with the help of statistics, human behavior can be understood more effectively. By gathering data, asking the right questions and staying objective, you can discover solutions to persistent problems and can make the world a better place.
I like that.
Yes. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang, Free to Air, GoTV and Star Times. Have a good evening.
Have a good public holiday.
Yes.